Andrew salutes you. I want to thank all our subscribers, new subscribers, and channel members for your support. There's a new store with new designs. We have dresses, t-shirts, and more with a bride and a groom logo. If you'd like to visit the store, go to the link to buy me a coffee, and you will find the store icon scrolling down on the left side. And if you want to buy a coffee for our dearest brother Michael, you can do so. Your support helps us cover costs and continue creating content. Of course, I hope you'll find the answers to all your questions in this video. If you're not a member yet, join us now. You'll find the link in the description and on the homepage. We publish something special for you every month. With that being said, let's start with today's topic. The two messengers of heaven, Daniel and John's hidden vision. As it was in the days of Daniel, so it is now. The prophet, burdened for his people, prayed earnestly for the blessings of heaven and for a clear understanding of the divine will. Daniel's heart was heavy for Israel, a people who had strayed from the strict observance of God's law. Their misfortunes were consequences of their transgressions, and Daniel cried out in confession, "We have sinned and committed iniquity. We have done wickedly." Daniel 9:5-6. His prayers ascended as a plea for mercy, for the face of God to shine once more upon the desolate sanctuary. In response, the angel Gabriel, representing the Holy Spirit, swept down from the heavenly courts to Daniel. Commissioned to grant understanding, Gabriel opened before Daniel the mysteries of future ages. The prophet beheld not only light for his own time, but visions reaching to the advent of the Redeemer. Daniel's encounter with Gabriel illustrates the heavenly principle. Earnest prayer, humility, and supplication bring the human mind into communion with divine wisdom. The mighty angel brought insight into the cosmic struggle between good and evil, revealing the unfolding plan of God across the ages. Yet even the angelic messenger faced opposition. For 21 days, the prince of Persia, a fallen spirit of high authority, blocked Gabriel's mission. Only through the intervention of Michael, chief of God's heavenly host, was Gabriel strengthened and allowed to fulfill his mission. Daniel 10:12-13. Here we see the first great lesson. God's purposes are enacted not only through human obedience, but through the active ministry of his heavenly agents. Michael, the protector of God's people, and Gabriel, the revealer of divine mysteries, collaborate to counter the forces of darkness, aligning heavenly and earthly events with God's plan. Daniel witnessed visions of unparalleled majesty. One clothed in linen, with a body like polished bronze, eyes like lamps of fire, and a voice as the multitude of the heavens, touched Daniel to strengthen him. Daniel 10:5-6. In Revelation, John sees a vision remarkably parallel. One like the Son of Man, girded with a golden sash amidst 7 golden lampstands, with a voice commanding attention across heaven and earth. Revelation 1:12-13. In both instances, the messenger veils the full brilliance of divine glory, allowing the human recipient to endure the vision. The parallel demonstrates a timeless principle. God sends his messengers to reveal his purposes while protecting the human heart from the overwhelming weight of his majesty. The ministry of Gabriel and Michael was not limited to visions alone. As Daniel fasted and prayed, Gabriel acted on earth, influencing kings and nations. He was sent to strengthen Darius the Mede and, through Michael's aid, to overcome the spiritual powers controlling Persia and Greece. Daniel chapter 10:20-21. These princes represent angelic authorities opposing God's purposes, demonstrating that heavenly beings actively engage with earthly kingdoms. The lesson is clear. Prayer and righteousness activate the assistance of God's messengers, and divine wisdom and authority operate across both heaven and earth. Mystical writings echo these truths. The ancient texts describe angels as ministers of God, guiding and protecting the faithful while participating in the unfolding plan of redemption. The wisdom of Solomon teaches that the holy ones, God's messengers, intervene in human affairs, providing counsel, strength, and protection. Even the greatest human prophets, like Daniel and John, rely upon these heavenly agents to understand the mysteries of God and to receive the revelation of events yet to come. The angelic ministry is both protective and revelatory, ensuring that the divine plan progresses according to God's timing. John's vision in Revelation 10 reinforces this reality. The mighty angel, appearing with one foot on the sea and the other on the land, symbolizes authority over all the earth, representing the culmination of God's message for humanity, Revelation chapter 10, verse 2. Gabriel, acting as the Holy Spirit, conveys God's judgment and mercy, preparing the world for the final revelation. Just as Daniel received understanding in exile, John receives insight in Patmos, emphasizing that God's truth is revealed progressively through obedient servants at the appointed time. The ministry of these angels highlights a profound truth. Michael and Gabriel act as representatives of the Godhead, carrying the authority of the Father and the Son into the world. Michael, as protector of God's covenant people, exemplifies the defense and preservation of righteousness. Gabriel, as the revealer of mysteries, opens the mind of the faithful to understand the plan of salvation and the coming kingdom. Their cooperation demonstrates the divine order, heaven and earth aligned, angels assisting humanity, and God's purposes unfolding with precision across time and history. The principles of angelic ministry continue in the lives of the faithful. As Jacob saw in Bethel, heavenly beings guided and protected him and his family, Genesis 32, 1-2. As the Israelites crossed the wilderness, God's angels led them tenderly as a mother leads her children, illustrating that divine care is constant and personal. The faithful, like Daniel and John, are strengthened, protected, and enlightened when they seek God earnestly and walk humbly before Him. Even Christ, in His wilderness temptation, was attended by heavenly ministers, strengthened in His humanity, and preserved for His mission of redemption. From these accounts, we learn that prayer, humility, and consecration are the keys to accessing heavenly guidance. The spiritual battle is ongoing, with both good and evil angels influencing the affairs of humanity. Gabriel and Michael, as ministers of the Most High, intercede, reveal, and defend, ensuring that God's plan continues unimpeded. For those who seek understanding and righteousness, the presence of these heavenly beings is both an assurance and a call to walk in faith, to pray without ceasing, and to recognize that God's purposes are being advanced both above and below. Thus, Daniel and John, separated by centuries, reveal the same divine truth. God's messengers are actively engaged in the affairs of the world, and the faithful are called to humility, prayer, and obedience to align with heaven's plan. Gabriel, representing the Holy Spirit, and Michael, chief protector, guide, strengthen, and instruct, prepare the faithful for the final judgment and the ultimate establishment of God's kingdom. The revelation of the heavenly host is a continual reminder that God governs history through a hierarchy of divine beings, ensuring the fulfillment of His promises, the protection of His people, and the triumph of righteousness over the powers of darkness. As Gabriel ministered to Daniel, so the Messiah, the daughter, now moves in the fullness of her appointed ministry. She is the Shekinah, the Spirit of God incarnate, the sister and spouse of the Messiah, the Son. Her mission is both redemptive and confrontational, to restore what was lost in the rebellion of the angels, and to reclaim the keys of life and death that were stolen from heaven when Satan and his legions rebelled. Just as Gabriel once descended to Daniel to open the mysteries of God, so the Messiah, the daughter, ascends from the earth to the heavenly courts to confront the dragon and his consort, the Jezebel spirit, who have usurped authority in the second heaven. The dragon and his dark angels occupy the second heaven, the domain of principalities and powers that oppose the plans of God. They seek to prevent the daughter from reaching the throne, to block her from exercising the authority granted to her by the Eternal Father and the Supreme Mother. But the Messiah, the daughter, is not alone in this heavenly conflict. Michael, chief of the heavenly hosts, stands ready to aid her as he once aided Gabriel. The forces of righteousness, aligned under the authority of the Godhead, move to restrain the power of evil and to ensure the victory of divine justice. The Jezebel spirit represents the false brides of the earth, those who claim the place of the true spouse of the Messiah, yet are bound to Satan. In contrast, the true bride, the Messiah, the daughter, embodies the heavenly authority, wisdom, and purity of the Spirit, and she fights to restore the rightful order. This is a cosmic struggle. The sons and daughters of heaven, the angels, sent with her assist in her work of redemption. Unlike the humans who are born from above but still dwell in the flesh, these heavenly beings have descended with her, hidden among humanity, to guide, protect, and execute God's plan without being recognized by the world. Her mission mirrors the work of the Messiah, the Son, who fulfilled the spring feasts and descended to hell after his resurrection to reclaim the keys of heaven stolen by Satan. The daughter fulfills the fall feasts. She must ascend, pass through the heavens, and confront the forces that oppose God's kingdom. In doing so, she will defeat the spirit of death and destroy the authority of the Jezebel spirit, restoring the balance intended from the foundation of the world. Ancient texts, including the Wisdom of Solomon, speak of the daughter as a divine woman whose offspring, the sons and daughters of heaven, participate in the redemption of the world. These texts echo the mystery of Revelation, a woman, a son, and a heavenly host aligned to reclaim what was lost. The faithful, those born from above, will one day recognize and honor the Messiah, the daughter, as mother, bride, and temple. Today, many reject her, calling it blasphemy, unable to see her authority. Yet the angels, the sons and daughters of heaven, know their parentage and serve her willingly. Tribulation will open the eyes of humanity, allowing humans to acknowledge the Supreme Mother and her daughter, to recognize the rightful order of God's kingdom, and to accept the restoration of heaven and earth through the two Messiahs. Thus, the ministry of the Shekinah continues the eternal work of the Godhead. She acts as warrior and intercessor, leading the heavenly army against Satan's forces, protecting creation from destruction and ensuring the fulfillment of God's covenant. Just as Gabriel once revealed heavenly mysteries to Daniel, so the Messiah, the daughter, reveals the hidden truths of the spiritual realms to those who seek understanding. She prepares the world for the final triumph of the Godhead, the restoration of all creation, and the eternal union of the sons and daughters of heaven with their parents, fulfilling the divine plan in its fullness. As the Shekinah ascends and claims her rightful place beside the Messiah, the Son, the final acts of the heavenly drama unfold. Humanity, having witnessed tribulation and the outworking of divine justice, will begin to recognize the truth of the Messiahs, the authority of the Supreme Mother, and the reality of the heavenly hosts who have guided and protected the earth. The children of promise, born from above, will acknowledge the Messiah, the daughter, as their spiritual mother and temple, while the sons and daughters of heaven, the angels who descended with her, will complete their mission of preparing the way for full restoration. The dragon and his Jezebel consort will be bound, and the path will be open for the establishment of God's kingdom in perfect harmony with heaven and earth. This revelation reminds us that the mysteries of heaven have always been unfolding before human eyes, though veiled until the appointed time. God's plan involves both the Messiahs and the faithful heavenly hosts, working together to bring redemption, justice, and truth to all creation. As the final age approaches, those who seek the light with humility and perseverance will witness the glory of the Messiahs, the fulfillment of prophecy, and the ultimate victory of God's divine order. We have completed this study. Thank you for joining us. If you found these teachings valuable, please share them to help others in need. We appreciate your likes and comments. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to the family. Stay tuned for our next video. It promises to be fascinating.